business owners and independent contractors. Get affordable insurance with Sagicor Pro Shield. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSDA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Jamaica braces for Tropical Storm Melissa, projected to become a hurricane on Thursday. We get the latest. All systems go. Government activates emergency response systems across the island. And lesson learned, fisherfolk in coastal communities not taking chances as Melissa nears. Later on in sports, Mount Pleasant draw first blood in the first leg semifinals of the CONCACAF Caribbean Cup away in Trinidad and Tobago.
News at 7 Wednesday headlines, courtesy of Heart NSDA Trust, Jamaica's Human Development Agency.
When the bus the man, I want to watch my son up play finals on CVM, you know.
But mums, you can't watch it on CVM website, man.
Boy, my son score, my son score, my son score, my son score.
Greatness begins here.
CVM News at 7 Wednesday, courtesy of.
Seize the next IPO opportunity seamlessly with the Sagicor e-Invest.
From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7 for Wednesday, October 22, 2025. I'm Nika Lewis. Thanks for having joined us. Tropical Storm Melissa is projected to become Hurricane Melissa by Thursday, and a tropical storm watch remains in effect for Jamaica. The Met Office says Melissa is moving slowly at just about 4 kilometers or 2 miles per hour and continues to drift westward towards Jamaica. At 4 p.m., the center of Tropical Storm Melissa was located about 437 kilometers or 272 miles southeast of Morant Point, Jamaica, or about 480 kilometers or 300 miles southeast of the capital, Kingston. A gradual turn to the northwest and northwest is expected during the next few days. Maximum sustained winds are near 85 kilometers per hour or 50 miles per hour with higher gusts. Tropical Storm Melissa is expected to continue in the direction of Jamaica before turning towards the west on Saturday and moving over the waters south of the island. The Met Office says showers associated with the storm will begin to affect the island, with periods of moderate to heavy rainfall beginning in the early afternoon on Thursday and will continue through to Friday and the weekend. All small craft operators, including fishers from the Keys and Banks, should by now be in port and are urged to complete their necessary safety precautions without delay. Joining us now to break down what's happening with Melissa is meteorologist Javoy Sawyers. Welcome, Mr. Sawyers. Well, at roughly 4 kilometers or 2 miles per hour, this system is moving much slower than any of its kind at this point. What's the significance of this? All right. It appears we're having some technical difficulties, but we'll continue because in the meantime, Jamaicans are being urged to stay alert as Tropical Storm Melissa edges closer. While forecasters say there's still some uncertainty in its projected path, the storm is expected to strengthen, bringing heavy rains and possible flooding to several parishes. Our reporter Akeem Aret was at today's media briefing at the office of the Prime Minister.
Principal Director at the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Evan Thompson, says there have been quite a few disparities with various models being used regarding Tropical Storm Melissa. However, as it relates to the consensus model,
the system will continue to move closer to Jamaica, and then it will more or less move toward the west some distance away from the southern coastline. So it is expected to move parallel to the southern coast, moving past Jamaica, basically. That's the center of the system. Now, this is the main projected track, but this doesn't necessarily mean that this is exactly where the system will go.
Now, as a result of the tropical storm moving at a fast pace, Mr. Thompson warns it could develop into something stronger.
It is, however, expected to become a hurricane, and this is likely to occur sometime by Friday as we go into the weekend. Now, the system will begin most likely to impact Jamaica as early as Thursday, which is tomorrow. We should be getting rainfall from the system at that time.
With rainfall expected across the island within the next 48 hours, the Met Service says several parishes could be at great risk.
Rainfall, however, is likely to cover most of the island. Eastern parishes are most at risk, and also southern sections of the country. On the chart that you're seeing now, it shows that the eastern end of the island could have up to anywhere between 8 and 12 inches of rainfall. Now,
Thompson adds that the Met Office will continue to issue timely updates as the storm progresses.
Continue to have the country under a tropical storm watch. That is what is there now. It's not a warning, but a watch. And that means that tropical storm conditions are possible within 48 hours.
Akeem Aret, CVM News.
From school mobilization to community assessment, several ministries are now on high alert. Here again is Akeem Aret.
As government officials make headway preparing for Tropical Storm Melissa, Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says while schools remain open up to this point, alternative measures should be considered in consultation with regional education officers.
They need to make preparations to potentially go online. And so you need to get ready with Google Classroom. And we understand also that not every community has internet, has access in that way. And that's really why, for us in the ministry, we really don't like closing schools, because some students are really very disadvantaged. But the safety of everybody and all our students and our teachers is of utmost importance.
Minister with responsibility for works, Robert Nesta Morgan, says vulnerable communities across the island have been assessed, but admits there are challenges in certain areas.
Persons who live on gully banks continue to be vulnerable whenever we have a potential rain event. And it is something that the government has been looking at and we're taking very seriously, as not only is there a risk to property, but there's also a significant risk to life, and also a risk to persons who may seek to assist these persons if a disaster takes place.
Meanwhile, local government and community development minister Desmond McKenzie says the country can rest assured that his ministry and its agencies are equipped and ready to respond.
Our shelters, the 800 and odd shelters, have been inspected. Our shelter supervisors, managers, and volunteers are on standby. We have pre-positioned relief supplies in various sections of the island. We are also putting emergency equipments and teams in areas that we know are challenging areas. We do have a list of the areas that we need to pay attention to.
But as storm clouds gather and Jamaica remains under a tropical storm watch, Environment Minister Matthew Samuda says there's no place for fright.
It's certainly not a time for panic, but it is a time for preparation. And for that reason, we have decided, certainly from experiences in the past, as recent as Hurricane Beryl, to ensure that we're in front of the misinformation cycle, which can sometimes damage preparation efforts for agencies and for citizens and for communities.
As Melissa barrels through the region, the message from Jamaica's government is clear. Stay alert, stay informed, and be prepared. Reporting for CVM News, I am Akeem Aret.
Thanks, Akeem. We're now rejoined by meteorologist Javoy Sawyers. Welcome back, Mr. Sawyers.
Hi, thank you.
Well, at roughly 4 kilometers or 2 miles per hour, the system, it seems to be moving slower than others of this nature. What, therefore, you believe is the significance of this?
Well, the lack of any steering flow or little steering flow causing the system to basically meander in our area. And it's significant because Having a more westerly track south of the island puts it over warm waters that will fuel development, and we're seeing where it's forecast to rapidly intensify somewhere during the weekend, Sunday into Monday, south of the island, and being as slow as it projected to move, that will cause more rainfall across the island. We're not certain how close it will track to the south of the island as it pertains to how much wind we'll receive. However, a certainty is the amount of rainfall if it maintains on this current track, especially over eastern parishes over the weekend, and then progressing more continuous across the island as we get into next week.
So well, you mentioned that you're not so sure how closely it will track to Jamaica. What can you share with us that is certain at this time?
The certainty in the system is that the rainfall will be a lot, to say the least. The models are still uncertain as to if it will track more on the north side of that center path, how far west it tracks, because we're seeing where the models are hinting at a recurve west of the island, and how close to that recurves may potentially bring a major hurricane close to the western end of the island, if not tracking across the island. So it does bear some watching.
What exactly is this recurve?
Well, we're expecting the system to be pulled northward across the Greater Antilles into the Atlantic sometime next week. How soon this recurve occurs will impact how close the system comes to the island. It may continue westward far enough between Jamaica and Cayman Islands. It may continue west into the Central America region, but the consensus is that it will recurve closer to the western end of the island. That's what the models are hinting at now, currently.
Anything else you'd like to share with us before we go?
It's a development situation. It's a serious situation. I would urge Jamaicans to not take this lightly. The models are uncertain. However, the rainfall is almost a certainty.
All right, thank you so much, meteorologist Javoy Sawyers. And we'll take a break. We'll have more for you right after.
Chase the Northern Lights with your Sagicor Bank credit card. Wouldn't you like to experience the natural beauty? Use your cards right, and you could be the lucky winner of an all-inclusive cruise vacation for two along the Norwegian coast to see the Northern Lights. The more you spend, the closer you are to your dream adventure. Enjoy the best rewards ever. Visit Sagicor.com for more information.
Everybody needs a helping hand, somebody to understand. In the end, we're all human. For people living with HIV, no discrimination. Here to support them through. Respect you as usual. Got to protect them too. When you're friend of your family, somebody in your community. People living with HIV. Protect, accept, and respect people living with HIV. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
From first steps on campus to graduation day, we've been with you through every chapter. Introducing the new face of the Students' Loan Bureau, a fresh identity designed for your future. The bold step forward with a fresh look for a future-focused mission. Still rooted in trust, service, and possibility, while continuing to uphold our core values of integrity, accountability, respect, teamwork, excellence, and customer focus. It reflects who we are today, modern, resilient, and evolving with the people we serve. This isn't just a new logo, it's a renewed commitment. The Students' Loan Bureau, building bridges, transforming dreams.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Still in local news, all schools have now been directed to suspend face-to-face classes and transition to remote learning. The Education Ministry says the decision was taken out of an abundance of caution due to the expected effects of Tropical Storm Melissa. Where remote learning is not possible, schools have been asked to prepare take-home worksheets and other at-home learning activities to ensure learning continues. Meanwhile, over at the headquarters of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, preparations are in full swing. The office is tracking the system and is on standby to activate emergency procedures. Our reporter Amoy Harriet visited ODPEM today and sat in on one of the meetings.
Inside the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, the home of meetings and strategy sessions in full swing. With the tropical storm Melissa mere hours away, teams are tracking the system and preparing for every possible scenario.
We always plan for the worst, so we plan very, very high. In terms of our readiness, we can always ramp down.
Now, the room you're looking at is ODPEM's Operation Room, the central hub that, if Melissa makes landfall, will house representatives from the Jamaica Constabulary and Defense Forces, key ministries like Health, Works, Labor and Social Security, among others. From here, they'll monitor developments across the island in real time, using these computer systems to coordinate the national response. Richard Thompson is Acting Director General at ODPEM. He says there are some communities in Jamaica that ODPEM is particularly concerned about.
We have a listing which is called the National Vulnerability Ranking. And so we rank communities based on high, medium, low level of vulnerability. And a large percentage of the communities in the country rank between medium and high in terms of vulnerability.
He contends, though, some amount of damage is inevitable.
So it's disaster risk reduction and not disaster risk elimination. You're reducing the risk because you not necessarily can remove the risk in its entirety, because you will have flooding. It's a given. If you have flooding, you're going to have infrastructural damage.
It's why he's urging the public to make use of the shelters that will be available, assuring that steps are being taken to ensure that the facilities are safe. His comment comes in light of reports that at least 2 shelters lost their roofs and displaced occupants during Hurricane Barry last year.
In my years being at the ODPEM since 2008, is the first we actually had to remove persons from a shelter because something happened with the shelter. So the shelters are very safe. Yes, your shelter is not a 3-star, 4-star, 5-star hotel. It's just something to tie you over until the system has passed, or if you have suffered any damage at home, until you have done some repairs and you can go back into your dwelling. What we do understand, though, is that Jamaicans don't like shelter.
While the weather is setting up and ODPEM is fine-tuning its response with emergency teams on standby, it's now a wait and see for what Melissa has in store. Reporting for CVM News, I'm Amoy Harriet.
Meanwhile, the Marine Police are working to minimize risk and damage to not only its fleet, but also for vessels confiscated. Carolyn Brown tells us more.
Welcoming the waters in Arakabeso St. Mary Wednesday morning, but the clouds telling a different story.
The fisher folks would have secured a portion of their vessel for the inclement weather. Therefore, the police vessel is about to be taken up via the launch.
It's a shaky position for these members of the Marine Division of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, extremely busy trying to protect the fleet at the different outposts across the island, as well as others in their keep. The procedure can be tedious, and unfortunately, not all locations are equipped to safely remove the boats from the water in time of severe weather, like now with Melissa. Hence, they have to be taken elsewhere for mooring, which is a place or object to which the boat can be fastened. The mangroves are also safe haven for some boats.
For portion, Tony, I know there were 2 launched there. For seas boat, I think there were a couple of seas boat they're trying to, take from the water. Sometimes they get assistance from the Port Authority.
He says the team will remain watchful and cautious until the storm passes over.
Especially the seas boat that we will bring to safe refuge. Normally we would have a small boat that we, in the eye of the storm, we will, launch it and run to check on them, just to ensure that they are not sinking and the ropes are secured and stuff like that.
Meanwhile, the Marine Police says 2 fishermen, one from Port Henderson who was spotted using an oar in rough waters, was warned to leave the space, as was the operator of a small boat from Greenwich Farm. Both complied. Curlin Brown, CVM News.
As storm clouds gather and the winds begin to shift, the usually calm shores of Rocky Point in Clarendon are now a hive of urgent activity. With Tropical Storm Melissa on the horizon, fisherfolk in the area are wasting no time pulling boats ashore, tying down nets and bracing for impact. For this coastal community, preparation isn't just precaution, it's a race against time. Our reporter Omari Wilson has more.
As the country keeps a watchful eye on the looming threat of Melissa, it's all hands on deck in the coastal community of Rocky Point, Clarendon. Fisherfolk spent the day securing boats and gear, while others went out to sea one last time before conditions worsen. And for those who did, they say the sea is already beginning to change.
So they know, see them as swell up. You see them as swell up, so you see them as swell up. So you see them as swell up. See them as swell up big. So you can't answer. So the money my picture keep on a little island now. See, man, if I for Victory and take time, but some man stubborn. They don't want to come. See, start pump up now. In a natural tanzer. You see the tanzer. Like some type of sea where pump up. Anytime if you start pump up in type of way, yeah. I come. See, watch. I come.
Why? Catch you have got enough time to mash you up, yeah? Yeah. So this time I know we can't go wait till it come before we can take you out. We can take you out now. Normally, I would have chuck we use and put in a chuck man charge $2,000 for all up each boat. But the truck man saying broke down, so we have your girl in man now.
Still, much of the focus remains on the shoreline, where fisherfolk are working together to secure their vessels. From hauling boats to higher ground to reinforcing docks and tying down equipment, it's a collective effort, one that reflects the community's determination to protect their livelihood before the storm arrives.
Like when the vessel them, I try to get them back on the land. Every man try to help each one of them. No matter how you better of big sand, this and that and that. You have to right now, you have to each one of them because a life thing now, a life business now, life you're dealing with now. Because they must have a life thing, Because without them, no food, So I would feel hungry. So there's something alive. So I have to take care of them. Each one have to take care of one of them for the beach.
Amidst their preparations, there are growing concerns in the area as residents and government officials say many homes and livelihoods have not been repaired since the last hurricane in 2024.
Last year we had Beryl. We still have people who have not fully recovered from Beryl. We still have a number of people who have their roofs leaking. We still have a number of people who are not living anywhere. We still have a number of people who didn't get anything at all, Put it that way. And so, yes, and now seems as if Melissa is headed our way again.
Omari Wilson, CVM News.
In other news, there's a call this evening for the private sector to play a greater role in tackling the growing number of children being drawn into crime. Amoy Harriet has this report.
In some communities across Jamaica, crime is on the curriculum, and many children are learning it young. The Jamaica Violence Against Children and Youth Survey 2023 revealed that more than 3 in every 4 children and youth in Jamaica have experienced some form of violence in their lifetime. This is evident in reports that show that between 2020 and 2024, roughly 168 children aged 17 and under were murdered, and another 351 suffered gunshot injuries. Whether as victims, witnesses, or participants, more of the nation's children are being shaped by crime long before they understand it. What happens when innocence grows up in the shadow of violence?
What I'm seeing in my office are children coming in that have complex PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, children that are very aggressive. But I think the thing that really hits home is the desensitization. So they're so just used to the constant exposure to crime and violence in their communities or at schools, within their families. And so there is almost like an emotional numbness that takes place in children.
Dr. Patrice Charles King is a psychologist who has worked with children for many years. Speaking on CVM's Lead Story Prime on Tuesday, she expressed concerns that young people continue to be used as operatives in criminal activities, a trend that experts say can have lasting effects on their mental health and development.
Children model the behavior that they see. So if they're exposed to violence in their families, domestic abuse, we're hearing a lot about domestic abuse, abuse of the child, abuse of the child, then you're going to see quite a lot of aggression and antisocial behavior in the children. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the schools. We're seeing a lot of bullying, we're seeing a lot of fighting. We're even seeing a lot of, I was corrected by a 17-year-old boy who said, don't call it a gang, we call it organization. So there's a lot of organizations in schools.
And a 17-year-old told you that?
Yes. They don't like the term gang because it sounds too negative. So they refer to themselves as organizations.
Doing the same things that
Doing the same things that gangs do.
And parenting, social anthropologist Dr. Herbert Gale said, plays a big role in this.
A lot of work is needed, external work, because the family itself, which we compare to the heart, if the heart is not fed with oxygen and nutrients, it can't pump to the body to make the body strong. And that's exactly what's happening in Jamaica. Families are failing the country because the country has failed family.
The experts are appealing to the private sector to join forces with the state in tackling the issue that they say will only worsen with time if not addressed.
Can we ask the private sector organization to start facilitating this process so that parenting, the National Parenting Association can come into the workplace during the lunchtime, whatever time that is available, to start helping our parents, because our parents need help.
Amoy Harriet, CVM News.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, is criticizing Tuesday's walkout by members of the opposition as a breach of parliamentary decorum. Mrs. Holness says Gordon House is a chamber for serious, respectful and disciplined debate in the interest of the people of Jamaica. Crystal Williams reports.
Did he talk about payment? You nincompoop. Did he speak about payment?
Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliet Holness was on finger patrol during Tuesday's sitting, staying connected to the $18 million microphone system installed 2 years ago. But as the House wrapped, her fingers were busy again, this time on the keyboard to craft a statement rebuking the opposition for yet another dramatic walkout from Gordon House. In the press release, the Speaker said the disruption arose during statements by ministers when a member of the opposition attempted to introduce a matter that was procedurally improper. Pointing to Standing Order 16(1)A, Speaker Holness reminded that a minister's statement is to be followed by a 5-minute opposition response, after which only questions are permitted. But when St. Mary South Eastern MP Christopher Brown began querying payments to contractors, a sharp point of order quickly followed.
In terms of the engagement with the NWA as it relates to clearing of these roads, Minister, I'm advised that there is a reluctance on the part of the contractors
Member,
to...
Member, point of order.
Yes.
Point of order. The question being asked by a member must be related to the statement made by the minister.
But I'm going there. I'm doing that.
The minister is not in charge of landslide.
Standing Order 16(1)G 8 and 11 bars questions on the accuracy of press statements or actions of ministers not responsible to the House. Speaker Holness said MP Brown's question was inappropriate for the minister he addressed, yet the St. Mary South Eastern MP persisted.
Madam Speaker, the issue that we are discussing in terms of the system...
No, member, ask your question, and that's not an appropriate question.
Can they, and thank you for allowing me, Madam Speaker.
Ask your question.
Can the minister advise me and the House because as I said, there is a difficulty in terms of contractors indicating that they are not getting paid to clear the roads.
Member, please take your seat.
So, Madam Speaker.
No, you don't have any more questions.
Holness cited Standing Order 16.1H, which bars questions seeking opinions or hypothetical scenarios. She said the MP's persistence was a clear attempt to undermine the Speaker's authority. He was not alone. MPs from St. Catherine Northwestern and even the opposition leader faced similar silencing.
Regardless of the minister's portfolio, the minister was appointed by the government to make this particular statement. Therefore, without being properly briefed...
Member, thank you very much. You may take your seat. No, member, you may take your seat.
The leader of the opposition eventually gave instructions to his members to refrain from asking questions. The Speaker of the House says this was regrettable to say the least, but worse, an affront to the proper order of the House.
Are there any other questions?
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
CVM News at 7 continues in just a moment.
Every school is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
Hi! Now you can find your favorite chicken and snacks in the same place. Come on in.
Introducing the delicious combination of KFC fried chicken and Doritos nacho cheese. The KFC Doritos Zinger, a crunch that's finger-licking good. The new KFC Doritos Zinger, a combo that's finger-licking good. The time by
TGIS! Thank goodness it's the sale at Courts! It's the biggest sale weekend of the year! With up to 80% off store-wide from Friday, October 24th to Sunday, October 26th. TGIS! 3 days of fantastic deals at Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.
BCIC is giving up to $5 million in free content insurance.
We've developed a free online calculator. So anybody in Jamaica, any homeowner can go on to BCIC online. You don't even have to be a BCIC customer, and it will give you a building value.
When you update your home's rebuilding cost with our online calculator, you'll get $5 million in free content insurance and up to 12 months to pay your premium.
If you're not insured, go get it now. Better to be safe than sorry.
Thanks so much for staying with us. Over in international news, in southern Iraq, locals say their water is slowly poisoning them. It's too salty to drink, too dirty to bathe in, and in some cases even fatal. Corruption, climate change, and years of neglect have turned Iraq's water crisis into a fight for survival.
In Basra, water from a household tap can be deadly. Every bath, every sip is a gamble. Jannat's family still can't believe the 10-year-old is gone. Earlier this month, she was electrocuted while showering. A corroded water heater blamed for the short circuit.
She went to take a shower, then suddenly she collapsed and became completely paralyzed. We thought she fainted. We rushed her to the hospital, but she was already dead. When we opened the heater, we found the salt buildup had corroded the electrical parts and caused a short circuit.
In areas without running water, many families rely on the canals. Children suffer from skin infections.
We use canal water for bathing and washing. Some boil it for cooking. We have no other choice. Many of our neighbors are affected, but are afraid to speak on camera.
A sharp drop in flows from dams upstream has allowed seawater to push deeper into the river. Behind me is the Shatt al-Arab River, once the lifeline of Basra. Today it contains more salt than fish. For many people here, it's a symbol of neglect of a community struggling under regional water policies, climate change and corruption. The high salt levels make the water unfit for daily use, even farming. Years of neglect have turned the city's canals into open sewers.
Wastewater and industrial waste flow directly into the river, and large volumes are diverted for oil fields. Combined with water shortages, these factors are destroying the water quality. We've identified thousands of violations and taken legal action against offenders in both the private and public sector.
Jannat's death has driven hundreds of people onto the streets, demanding clean water, accountability, and a future where their children can grow up without fear.
Our news package continues in a moment.
School is free of unhealthy, ultra-processed products. You know, those high in salt, fats, and sugar. If only that weren't a dream. The reality is that many children have an unhealthy diet at school, and 23% of them are overweight or obese. This can lead to hypertension, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Let's protect our children's right to health with a policy for schools that prevents unhealthy food marketing and ensures access to nutritious foods. The time is now. Let's implement the National School Nutrition Policy. A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
One money, two combo. Burger King pick two, come back again. Yo, that is it. Any two combo, double deal quick. It's a good look, pick any two you wish. Whopper, Junior, bacon and cheese, my favorite. American chicken sandwich or grab a big fish. Plus 2 small fries and 2 small drink. Double deal for my money and it have me a sing. One money, two combo. Burger King pick two, come back again. Yo, get BK double deal now on a Burger King. Burger King pick two, come back again. Yo. TGIS, thank goodness it's a sale! Don't miss Court's biggest sale of the year. From Friday, October 24 to Sunday, October 26. Shop at Courts.com and Courts Bargain Center this weekend and get up to 80% off furniture, appliances and electronics. Get bedroom, lounge and dining furniture, smart TVs, stoves, fridges and washers starting at $14,999. Plus, get 30% off credit purchases on 24 months and over. And enjoy amazing early bird deals from 7 to 9 a.m. on October 24 and 25 and 9 to 10 a.m. on October 26th. TGIS, 3 days of fantastic deals at Courts.com and Courts Bargain Center from October 24 to 26 with up to 80% off. Courts, bringing value home. Conditions apply.